Hello students, welcome to AriserTalent. As you know, we are studying chapter tissues. Now it is time to solve the NCERT questions of chapter tissues. So here we go. Number 1 is, what is a tissue? Generally tissue, we all know that tissues are made up of similar kind of cells. Okay, and those cells together they perform a particular function. Okay, so here we go with the answer. What is a tissue? That tissues is a group of similar type of cells that work together to perform a particular function. Okay, what is tissue? Tissue is a group of similar type of cells that work together to perform a particular function. Clear? So this is the answer of tissues. What are tissues? Again I am repeating, tissues are the group of similar types of cells that work together to perform a particular function. Clear? So this is the answer of tissue. Next, how are simple tissues different from complex tissue in plants? As we all know that plants have two types of tissues, simple and complex tissues. So if we talk about the simple tissues, then simple tissues are made up of same type of cells. Even complex tissues are made up of different types of cells. Clear? So here we go with the answer that in plants there are two types of tissues, simple tissues and complex tissues. Okay, so simple tissues, what are simple tissues? So simple tissues are made of same type or one type of cells. We can say are made of one type of cells, whereas complex tissues are made of more than one type or we can say different type. Okay, here in bracket we can mention that they are made up of different type of cells. Clear? So what is the difference between simple tissue and complex tissue? That simple tissues are made up of one type of cell, even complex tissues are made up of different type of cells. Okay, so what is the answer? In plants there are two types of tissues, simple tissues and complex tissues. Simple tissues are made up of one type of cell and complex tissues are made up of different types of cell. Clear? Okay, so this is the answer. Next is, what are the function of stomata? So as we know, stomata are present in the leaves. Okay, stomata are generally present on the lower surface of the leaf. And what is the function of stomata in the leaf? That they do the exchange of gases with the atmosphere and they help in the process of transpiration. Clear? They lose the water from the plant in the form of water vapor and that process is known as transpiration. So here we go with the answer. function of stomata stomata help in exchange of gases with the atmosphere. Okay, next, stomata help in the process of transpiration. And what is transpiration? Transpiration means loss of water from the plant in the form of water vapor. So here I am going to mention it, loss of water from plant in the form of water vapor. Okay, so thus we can say function of stomata are, first of all, they help in the exchange of gases with the atmosphere, and another thing is the help in the process of transpiration means loss of water from the plant in the form of water vapor. Clear? So this is the process of transpiration. So these are the function of stomata. Next is, what is the role of epidermis in plants? As we know that in plants, epidermis work as protective layer. As our skin protect us, same as in the plants, epidermis is the outer covering of the plant and it protect the underlying tissues. Clear? And it also help in the excretion, secretion and exchange of material. Okay. So these are the function of epidermis and it do not allow the pathogens to enter in the cell. Clear? So these are the functions of epidermis. Role of epidermis in plants. What is the topic? Role of epidermis in plants. As we know, epidermis is the outer covering of plants. It protects the underlying tissues. Okay, it is in the direct contact with the atmosphere because it is the outer covering. That is the reason. That's why it is in the direct contact with the atmosphere or environment. So it is in the direct contact with atmosphere, or we can say it is in the direct contact with the environment. Okay, here we can mention environment also. In the environment, it does not allow pathogens to enter. It also helps in excretion absorption. Okay, it also helps in absorption, excretion and transpiration. Okay, so what are the functions of epidermis? What is the role of epidermis in the plants? That's epidermis is the outer covering of the plants. So it works as a protective covering. It protects the underlying tissues. Okay, it does not allow the entry of pathogens, and it also helps in the absorption, excretion and transpiration. Clear? So this is the role of epidermis in the plant. Next is complete the table. As we know, permanent tissues are generally of two types. Generally, permanent tissues are found in the plant cell, in the plant only. Okay, so if we talk about the permanent tissue, they are found in the plant. Clear? And they are of two types, simple tissues and complex tissues. Clear? So if we will go in the simple tissues, then there are of three types of simple tissues: parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. And complex tissues are of two types, xylem and phloem. So here we go with the answer. Permanent tissue, are of two types, simple and complex. Okay. Simple are again of three types: parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. So answer here is parenchyma. One is parenchyma. Here we can mention number one is parenchyma. Collenchyma is already given, and the second one is sclerenchyma. So here we have mentioned sclerenchyma. Okay. Then complex tissue. If we go in the complex tissue, they are of two types: xylem and phloem. Xylem and phloem. Clear? So number third answer is phloem. Clear? So complete the table. We have already completed the table that permanent tissues are of two types: simple tissue and complex permanent tissue. Simple permanent tissues are of three types: parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. Here we have completed the table. Number one is parenchyma. Second one, which was missing here, we have mentioned, that is sclerenchyma. Complex tissue are of two types: xylem and phloem. So third option, which is blank here, we have mentioned the answer, that is phloem. Clear? So we have completed the table. Next is name the following tissues that form inner laying of our mouth. Inner laying of our mouth, that is epithelium. And which epithelial? Squamous. Okay. So here we go with the answer, that A. Tissues that form inner lining of our mouth are squamous, epithelial, okay. B. Tissues that connect muscles to bone in humans, they are tendons. Okay, generally tendons are dense connective tissue. Tissue that transport food in plants. So which tissues transport the food in plants? They are phloem. Okay, tissues that store fat in our body. Adipose tissue. Adipose tissue. Okay, and next is connective tissue with a fluid matrix, that is fluid tissue. Fluid tissue. Okay, and this is also known as vascular tissue. Clear? Tissues present in the brain, nervous tissue. Nervous tissue. Clear? So here we are with the answer that tissues that form inner lining of our mouth, they are squamous epithelial. Okay, squamous epithelial. And tissues that connect muscles to the bone in the humans, they are tendons. Tissues that transport food in plants, they are phloem. And tissues that store fat in our body, that is adipose tissue. Okay, and connective tissue with a fluid matrix, that is fluid tissue, also known as vascular tissue. Tissues present in the brain are nervous tissue. Okay, so these are the answers of that questions. Next is identify the type of tissues present in the following. Number 1 is skin. Skin again has epithelial tissue because it is the outer covering. Okay, so skin has epithelial tissue, and which kind of epithelial? It has, skin has epithelial tissue. Epithelial tissue. And which epithelial? It is again squamous. Squamous epithelial. Okay. Next is bark of tree, cork. Bark of tree is cork, also known as the protective tissue because it protects the internal parts, protective tissue. Okay. So, skin has epithelial tissue, bark of tree has cork. Next is lining of kidney tubules. Lining of kidney tubules have again epithelial tissue, but which one? Cuboidal. So here we go with the answer that lining of kidney tubules linings of kidney tubules have cuboidal epithelial tissue. Okay. Next is vascular bundle. So, vascular bundle as we all know, vascular bundle is made up of xylem and phloem. Okay. So, it is known as the complex permanent tissue, and they are xylem and phloem. Okay, so here it is clear. Skin has epithelial tissue, bark of tree has cork, they are also known as protective tissue. Lining of kidney tubules have cuboidal epithelial, means they again have epithelial tissue, but which kind of? They have cuboidal epithelial tissue. Vascular bundle, generally vascular bundle is made up of xylem and phloem, so they are known as complex permanent tissues. So what kind of tissues they have? They have complex permanent tissues as they are made up of xylem and phloem. Clear? So these are the answers of these questions. Clear? So here you can go with the answers. Next is 3 features of cardiac muscles. Cardiac muscles means they are present in the heart. Okay, so they are involuntary in nature, and if we talk about the shape, then they are cylindrical, uninucleated and branched. Okay, here we can go with the structure. So, uninucleated. Okay, so here we can see that cardiac muscles are cylindrical, uninucleated and branched. So, here we can mention that features of cardiac muscle. Number 1, cardiac muscles are involuntary in nature. They are not in our control. Okay. They work automatically. Then cardiac muscles are cylindrical, uninucleated, and branched. Okay. Then they show rhythmic contraction and relaxation throughout the life. Okay, they do not stop, they do not get fatigued, they work throughout the life and they show the rhythmic contraction and relaxation. Clear? So these are the features of cardiac muscle. What are the features? Number 1, they are involuntary in nature because they work automatically, they are not under our control. Okay, that is the reason they are known as involuntary muscles. So what is the first function? That cardiac muscles are involuntary in nature. Another thing is that they are cylindrical, they have one nucleus, means they are uninucleate, and they are branched. So feature is cylindrical, uninucleate and branched. Beside it, they work throughout the life and they show the rhythmic contraction and relaxation. Clear? So these are the features of cardiac muscle. So here we have discussed important questions of NCERT. Now I hope you must have to learn them, and in our next lecture we will discuss the remaining questions of this chapter. Till then, take care. Thank you.